All right, I don't think that's live yet. Probably a fake start. Let it run for a second and let's find out. All right, there we go. And we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would sit down and do a live for you guys and gals. Let me give you guys a bicep shot first. Bicephalus. All right, before we jump into this, I'm going to remind people, please click like down below. Also, follow me on the Facebook fitness page, which is linked in the description of every video. It would be greatly appreciated. Brief topic I want to cover, then I'll entertain people's questions. I may not run this one a full hour today, but I wanted to give you guys a live today. All right, so in that spirit, let's talk about more supportive lifting community. And this is something that I said many years ago, that the lifting community was very supportive when I was coming up and younger. We didn't have all these rivalries, all this hate. It wasn't power lifters versus bodybuilders, strong guys versus aesthetic guys. Everyone just trained. Everyone got along. Gyms had a sense of community and rivalries were friendly. Like people didn't hate each other. There wasn't the trash talking. Keeping in mind, of course, that, yes, I contributed to a lot of that because of the nonsense that was out there, bad information, all the fake natty stuff, the scam supplements. The scam supplements are still an issue. But with a lot of it, there comes a point where even I don't want to continue to push feuds and bad blood or any of that, simply because it's not good for the lifting world. Outside of calling out literal scams, like actual scams, we don't need all of that. I'm kind of at a point, even for me, I don't care about an influencer's personal vices. Yes, there are absolutely influencers who have cheated on their wives. There are major influencers who've cheated on multiple of their wives. There are ones who beat their women. There's all sorts of stuff. Okay? We be aware of that. That is part of it. But you know what? There's a point where I just don't care about calling all this stuff out. Right? I don't care about calling this stuff out. I just want to promote a positive lifting world where we can all simply do our best to inspire each other. Doesn't mean I'm not going to call out scams like scam supplements and carnivore nonsense and stuff. But generally speaking, even I don't want to engage in that. And I don't think any of you should engage in that. There comes a point where we've allowed the internet, all of us, to become more negative in the fitness sphere, in the lifting world, in all aspects of our lives. And it's not necessary. It's not helpful to do that. All right. Again, we should be more supportive. All right. Let's see if we get some. This is earlier than I often do these, but that's going to happen a lot. See if we get some actual questions in. This guy down here asking, why are you asking me medical questions, Hagiri? And I don't even think you're a real account. I think you're a troll, to be honest. Let me ask you a question. Why would you come to a lifting channel and ask about your pink eye? Do they not have doctors in India? You don't have medical doctors or people who are doctors whose job is to treat illness. I'm going to bet you have those in your country. You don't need to come to fitness YouTubers for that. Yeah. Again, I don't care I don't care if you got pink eye from going to the gym. I don't care if you got pink eye from your girlfriend farting in your eye when you're eating her booty hole. I don't care. See, it's irrelevant. That's where you go to a medical doctor, right? All right, let's get some real questions in here. Actually training, fitness related. Let's get all that. And more, you need to be clicking that like button. But my point was we need a fitness community that lifts each other up more. And we all have to work towards that. I'm going to try to work towards that in the future. Again, because I promoted a lot of bad blood on stuff. Whether it was justified or not, it's not necessary. A dose of American. See, now we're going to go with all this. But see, I'm not standing here trash talking Piana and his death, by the way. But he says, honest question, if you know firsthand that exes can be biased and unreliable sources of information about men they've been with, why take Rich Piana's exes at their word without question? Well, I didn't take it without question. Keeping in mind, I am also not spreading it. Okay, I'm not up here bad-mouthing the man or putting their evidence out in public. So just be aware of that. I was given copies of actual police reports and police photos and things. I chose to sit on those and not put those out in public in good faith because the man is dead. And there's a big difference between, unreliable exes and multiple exes consistently saying the same thing with physical evidence, not just, their word. And it's a little different. But here's your context. I haven't gotten up and put that information out. Because I'm not going to, again, the guy's dead. And even if he wasn't, it's not my job to get up and crucify people for their personal vices. Okay. Let me put it this way, I would have simply chosen not to associate with him at that point. See how easy that is? All right. And so that's kind of the point you're misunderstanding with that. Hager, I'm not going to entertain those questions. We don't do gear talk. In fact, I don't need you naming gear in here. You're obviously a troll anyways. So let's just get rid of you. All right. A dose of American hatred says, is narrow stance versus wide stance, good morning, mostly a matter of personal preference? Does it make a real difference in the muscles emphasized? Well, do you think that wide versus narrow stance changes the muscles? So it's a hip hinge, right? A good morning is a hip hinge. So if you were to walk over and do another really popular hip hinge that we call the deadlift, okay, right? If you do a conventional deadlift versus a sumo deadlift, do you feel that it works different muscles at a different emphasis? I'm going to go with yes, and I'm going to go with yes that literally a good morning replicates that pattern. It is a very similar movement pattern to a deadlift. And a sumo stance, good morning, has a lot of overlap in the same movement pattern of a sumo deadlift, and vice versa with the narrow stance versus a conventional. So yeah, it matters a lot. Kumar says, do you have any advice on having a significant other who derails and sabotages your diet on purpose? Yes, break up with them. They are not the one. If you are truly trying to be fit and you take your health and fitness seriously, and someone claims to love you and they intentionally derail your diet multiple times, you divorce her. She doesn't love you. She doesn't care about you. Mbuku says, hello, Jason. Greetings from Nigeria. Future legend, if you feel like you're getting too fat on a bulk cut, a mini cut, no, just go ahead and cut. Just do a straight up cut. Why mini cut? Cut down to where you need to be and restart. How long, Simia says, how long can you not train a muscle without losing muscle mass? 2 weeks. I think it varies. I mean, I don't know that we have an exact number, but I would say 2 weeks is probably about reasonable. Sandra says, will you ever bring back the green screen with the weaponsmithing setup nostalgia? It would be very unlikely. Thoughts on Louis Simmons saying sumo deadlifts are more useful for field athletes due to the hip involvement? It's due to the hip rotation. There's some truth to that. All right. Chad says, Jason, are push-ups good for chest development? Up to a point, but I mean, how much are you really loading there? All right. The problem is loading ability, and it still doesn't really give you much of anything that a bench press doesn't give you. And then what are you doing? Doing perfect push-ups, doing a perfect push-up setup, and then having someone stack plates on your back. At that point, you could just bench press. or incline bench or whatever other thing you're trying to do. It's just simply not practical once you're strong and well developed. A dose of American Age are true, but in a sumo deadlift, the back is more upright, but in a wide stance, more of your back is getting parallel. Are you sure about that? There's a whole lot of people who don't have the back upright on their sumos with big numbers. Just throwing that out there. Number one. And number two, we're still talking about the lower body. So I'm going to say absolutely that the pattern in regards to things like ratios of hips, quads, glutes, hamstrings, and all of that, the involvement on that stance, yes, the stance is going to be very, very similar. It's going to be very similar to a conventional versus a sumo in terms of that. Whether the back position is more upright or not, we're still talking about the stance within the relative ratios of the primary movers. So yes, there is an enormous difference between the two stances in a good morning. Kumar says, I have how to get over a plateau that I've had for years. My lifts have not gone up. Hire me as a coach. That's it. Or do a consultation. Send in an application. Let's set up a consultation and I'll fix you. Short of that, there's nothing I can do in a live stream. $100 an hour. Future Legend says mini cut so you can prolong the bulk and keep making. But a mini cut isn't going to do much. How much do you really think you're going to lose in a mini cut? Thoughts on the watermelon diet? It's stupid. Why would you do that? Why would you do a mono foods diet? Anyone telling you to do a mono foods diet is a nutritional moron. Let's just leave it at that. Somebody says, if you lose muscle mass from a long cut, can you benefit of muscle memory? You on maintenance calories after cut? Potentially, yes. Kumar says, is halal food healthy and low calorie? I don't know. I thought halal just means it's butchered a certain way. What are you talking about? Switch to halal. What in the holy shit are you talking about? All right. In what delusional world do you think I switched to halal meats? All right. Umbuku says, thoughts on kendo body saying deadlifts and weighted chin-ups are enough for a big back, even though it's not close to being optimal. Okay. As long as we're saying it's not optimal, but you can still get a big back, absolutely. Kumar, I never said or implied any such thing ever in my life, either in public or in private. You literally just made that up. I don't even know where to buy halal meats, let alone have any interest in doing so. Again, I think you've confused me with somebody else. You must have been watching some other stream, dude. Definitely wasn't mine. Kumar, maybe you're not right for this stream if you don't understand basic things. I told you one time many years ago there was an event where they catered and brought some stuff from halal guys, and I ate it and it was pretty decent. Like that, and I believe that was around 7 or 8 years ago. It's some movie set I was on with my ex. All right. That's a weird take to take. At this point, let's just. Actually, I'm not going to ban you yet because you're giving me engagement, so I'm making money off you. I'm gonna let you stay a little longer, but I know that you're a clown ass troll. All right, but you haven't crossed the line yet. Sean says most of the popular people from YouTube fitness golden era have passed away or had heart attacks. Aside from gear, what do you think caused it? Combinations, man. Their excessive gear use, their excessive saturated fat consumption combined together, and then all the other substances they were using with it, sometimes recreational, sometimes other PEDs. I mean, It's not difficult to figure out. Look, if you take anabolics in very high doses and other PEDs, you eat lots of saturated fat, and you do recreational drugs, you should expect to die of a heart attack. I mean, it's not hard to understand. A dose of American hatred, again, that superjoint ritual reference. A doctor tells me umbilical hernia is harmless, but slightly self-conscious of the reality. Should I see it as a badge of honor, meaning I've lifted very heavy or dropped several grand on a cosmetic procedure? That's a personal preference, man. Right? Umbuku said, has the recent research supported the age-old claim that overhead press is better for side delts than incline bench? I mean, it would stand to reason with basic physiology that the overhead press is slightly better for side delts than incline bench, but neither is an amazing side delt exercise. All right, Brian Dupree says, a lifting at home with a power rack, what exercise can I do for hamstrings, both heads? Want to do deadlifts and hand curls with a pulley attachment? Well, you could absolutely do that. I mean, you could do different types of deadlifts. You could do Romanian deadlifts, stiff leg deadlifts, deficit deadlifts, all sorts of shrimp. Sorry, I can't do the Forrest Gump line. All right, you could do all that. You could do some hamstring curls, the attachment, you'll be good to go. Hey, Jason, for a 5'7" woman, about 125 pounds, what deadlift and squat number should I be aiming for, 32 years old? As an ideal, work towards 225 squat and a 315 deadlift. Am I saying you're going to reach those? Maybe not, but I think they're good ideals and benchmarks for you to eventually strive for. But I don't know where you are right now or how many years you've done. Like, I don't know how many years of training you have in. I'll appreciate the donation, Brian, but which compounds for both heads? You're not going to work all the heads with compounds. Because most of the stuff that works, that one thing with the biceps femoris, that one smaller head, does require some deflection if you're really serious about it. But I mean, that aside, you're still going to work it through some irradiation effect. It's just maybe if you're trying to maximize it, you're going to need like a glute ham raise or a leg curl of some type. Okay. But generally speaking, most of the compound movements, because they're hip hinge based, it is going to focus more on the other two heads and the upper 2/3 of the hamstring. All right. Mbuka, have you heard about this 30 second? Don't even know who that is. Game with Me says, have you heard of the mind muscle size limit and the idea of a repeated bout effect? Basically, taking a longer time to deload, to sensitize, and reset mTOR. You need to give me some better info on that. What do you mean the mind muscle size limit? I mean, yes, we know what the repeat bout effect is. And no, I don't think deloading to desensitize helps with mTOR and overall gains. Philly Boy Fitness says, do you think Batista, the Wii wrestler physique, is possible? God, no. Like, why would you think you could look like Batista on just TRT? Dan, I don't owe you do lives every day, but I appreciate the fact that you missed me. B. Lena says, but Jeff Nippard ranked the overhead press lower than machine press, so what? So what? For people asking, are you in contact with Louis and Emma? Emma is far more likely to come back than Louis. I mean, they're still on my friends list, but Louis hasn't ever reached out. I've spoken to Emma off and on. Dan, probably not, because you're not a real person, so I don't think she's actually going to go for you. Sorry, man. All right. Mbuka said, can we get obligatory paper with motivational quotes? It's not motivation. It's about keeping a mindset. It's about keeping a mindset. I just have the same one. I don't change these around at the moment. In fact, it's got a coffee stain on it at this point. That's a coffee stain it's got on it. Just wealth and prosperity. Let it be like water. That's it. That's it, guys. Let's see. Let's get rid of this guy. All right. Oh, why is it not letting me block you? There we go. That way I'm going to keep his money. Oh, gosh. All right. All right. Helena asked, thank you. That's great advice. I will surely aim for that. Any thoughts on upper body standards? What should I be aiming for? Maybe bench, I 135. So get a full plate per side, right? Full plate per side would be good. All right. I'm glad I was able to help you there. Zachary says, a guitar rig on point. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Got my pedal board there. Got my Les Paul, my American Strat. The other Zachary down here, your arms are looking absolutely massive. Appreciate it, bro. I've been working on them. I'm going to keep hammering curls, though. I do need to keep bringing the biceps up. So I think, like on my arm day tomorrow, I'm going to maybe add a third thing back in. Redmond says, don't let the haters get to you, coach. Redmond, the haters don't get to me, man. I just press a button and move on, dude. D. Lena says, have you ever done a single tricep press down? Yeah, I've done plenty of them in the past. I just don't have a cable setup, so I do mostly extensions, right? I'm trying to get my extensions up to a full plate per side. So I did my heaviest 2 sets this week with 115 on my lying extensions with a barbell. But my goal right now, though, is to get those up to 135 for 10, like 8 to 10. All right. Umba says, thoughts on Greg Doucette saying that only the genetically gifted should really push themselves in the gym. He's always trying to push the idea of good genetics. I think maybe he shouldn't be a gatekeeper to hard training. And that's such a demotivational negative message, right? That is such a demotivational message to tell people that if they can't become a professional bodybuilder, that they shouldn't train hard or apply themselves to their fitness and strength and physique. Come on. Rondo says we're supposed to write the positive. No, it's not how it works. It's right there in my view. I'm reading it. It's right there while I'm working. It keeps me focused on work. What are your best lifts, coach, that I've done on camera? 635 deadlift, 365 bench. I've done it both wide and close grip. I've done different squats, but I mean, as far as true legitimate to depth squats with a barbell, I don't think I've done more than about 520 on camera, 525. I've hit like 600 plus with a cambered bar, but they were high in the past. Right. I've done like some weighted chin-ups and stuff with 110 pounds. This is all stuff I've done on camera in my late 40s. A dose of American Hatred says, do you think weight training helps prevent spinal cord and neck injury to someone who lifts less likely to get whiplash or from headbanging to a Metallica song? I think the data is pretty good supporting that, actually. Right? Right? That's not even in question. Yes, having strong muscles around your spine and neck can be useful in preventing injuries. It is help. We know even in contact sports that neck training reduces concussions. All right, Brian Dupree, thank you for the donation. Let's get to your question then. How do you feel about EOD, a squat, hamstring curl, incline bench, and barbell row for A? And hold on. Let me get rid of this troll and then I will finish your question. All right. So let me get back to your question. So let's workout A, squat, hamstring curl, incline bench, barbell row. Workout B, deadlift, lateral lunges, wide grip pull-ups, barbell overhead press, days in between, zone 2, F-body cardio. Man, that's not a bad general setup, but honestly, those lunges, I would, if you're going to do it that way and bother with a lunge, maybe put a harder exercise in, but it's not bad, honestly. I mean, if your goal is a full body EOD like that, if that's what you're trying to achieve, it's not a bad setup. I'd like to see some arm work in there though. Your biceps and triceps might lag if that's what you're doing, if I'm going to be honest with you. But I do like again, that workout A, a squat, hamstring curls, and you're getting most of the lower incline and a barbell row. That's a good combo. Again, I feel like your arms will possibly lag on that. Same thing, we come to the deadlift, great posterior chain. The lunge will work quads, it will work adductors, glutes. The wide grip pull up with overhead press. Yeah, no, I would add some arm work in there, right? All right, Jason, what do you think of the triceps dumbbell rollback exercise for gaining strength? I think it's a good tricep exercise, right? Tricep rollouts. That's what I've always heard them called. All right. And let's go ahead and get rid of him. Bam. Oh, no, Bob, I'm doing a method where I keep his money. All right. And Dan, that is your sign to go. Because you guys already know those are trolls and you don't repeat what they say. They're crazy ass, insane ass stalkers. And if you acknowledge them, you don't get to stay. All right. Jamie says, Coach, I'm currently doing a 4-day upper lower split and doing conventional deadlift and good mornings. And one overhead press day. Is this too much lower back? I don't know. How's your lower back feel? Right? That's the question I would ask you. Do you feel like it's too much for your lower back? And if it feels fine, then carry on, my friend. If it feels like too much and it's under recovering, then back some of it down. And I know that, and I'm not giving that as a trite answer. I'm just telling you straight up, like just observe it. All right. Yeah, no, Brian's not a client. Brian's shooting me a few dollars for the answers, and I appreciate that, man. That's why anytime people donate, I'll always go to their questions, no matter what else is going in the feed, because they're giving support to me and my channel, and I'm going to give support back to them. Hey, Rondo, if I'm banning them, it's a troll. Let me rephrase it. Rondo, if I'm banning them, they're a stalker. Okay, you need to understand the difference between a troll and a stalker. Troll is someone who just makes troll comments. A stalker is someone who gets involved in your personal life and your friends and family and your neighbors. Okay. So if you see me getting rid of someone like that, assume that they are a stalker. All right. Which internet people do. Even Chris Jones has dealt with stalkers, by the way. He's chatted with me about it in the past. Which I know, funny enough, you go, why the hell would anybody stalk Chris Jones? There's no reason. People are crazy. All right. Uba says, is lower rep range like 4 to 8 just as good as 10 reps for hypertrophy as long as effort's the same? Yeah, pretty much. Bob says, are pendlay rows good for hypertrophy or just athleticism? No, they're great for hypertrophy. Why wouldn't they be? Helena says, I joined a gym a month ago. I'm used to swimming college, but haven't done much since. Just getting back into fitness. Wish me luck. I wish you luck. Those numbers I gave you are advanced numbers, by the way. You're not hitting them in the next year, and that's okay. If you reach those numbers magically in the next year, you are absurdly genetically gifted. Those are kind of like you said, what should I strive for? So I gave you some. It's like you work really hard. It might take you 5 years to get there, but they're good long-term goals to strive for. But knowing you're a novice, obviously those will come down to much smaller benchmarks. All right. Jamie says, do you still perform the strict press yourself? No, I do seated presses right now. I feel like it's better carry over to my incline. All right. All right. Bob says, has the stalking stopped finally, or at least calmed down? Another troll still comment. Bob, they're in it for life. They have made it absolutely clear that it is a lifetime endeavor for them. I've been given a manifesto by some of them 8 years ago, and they haven't seemed to have stopped. They basically told me their holy crusade against me would be the most important thing they ever do with their entire life. And they were dedicating their entire life to it. I was given like a 2-page long manifesto was sent to me. So why would they quit? It's the most important thing they've ever done with their entire life. If you committed to something and wrote a manifesto that it was the most important thing in your entire life, why would you ever quit when you keep doing it for 20 years? It's the most important thing you've ever done. Rondo, I am their God. I am their reason for even existing. I'm the reason they wake up in the morning. It's messed up, but it is. All right. Richard Fromag. Is it Fromage? Am I saying it correctly? In the vein of making the lifting community more supportive, do you plan on supporting others by doing collabs? Eventually. I will eventually do some collabs. At the moment, I prefer not to for some personal reasons. However, long term, I will consider some collabs. Okay. And again, I've got personal reasons as to why it's not a good idea for me to do those yet. Yeah. All right. But let's set aside all that nonsense and let's talk about important stuff like training. Let's not give these people any more attention. Hamuku, I think that's the case. I really think a lot of those people are that disturbed and they might have off themselves if they didn't find some purpose, even if it's just to take somebody down that they hate. It might have kept them, from self-harm. All right. Do you think that CrossFit Impact has overall positive? I mean, there are problems with CrossFit, but if I were to weigh it out, the positives versus the negatives, I'm going to give it a net positive. I think CrossFit has overall had a net positive effect on fitness, on lifting, and everything else. Chad says, any predictions of who will win tonight's debate? I don't want to discuss politics or take sides on this. But I mean, realistically, one of the two candidates is not a skilled debater or a particularly good speaker. They waffle on a lot. Right? Versus a person who is known for being directly confrontational, aggressive, and going into the attack in a debate. I mean, I don't think that's going to be any question as to who's going to win that. Again, without me naming names or discussing sides or anything else. Thoughts on the death at CrossFit? I don't have a lot of thoughts on that. Are you in the path of Hurricane Francine's? Only on the far western edge. The eye is going to be like 200 miles from me. So I'm hoping we're going to be good and all these updates that Centerpoint has made will hold. Rich Frommage says, what's a strong black guy's name, Chris? I know, right? Chris Dahmer responded 495 Water Invention Press to pick up. Frommage, I think you're onto something here, man. I think we have found the key. The key to strength, man. If you happen to be of that ethnic background and you just name your son Chris, he's gonna be strong as hell. That's the combination right there. I don't know why that is. A dose of American hatred. Do you believe that a non-novice lifter adding 150 to 200 pounds doesn't will noticeably thicken up his back? And before or after photos, his back will thicken up. Bob says, have you always been a good public speaker? Do you have to develop this skill? I took public speaking in college, actually, and I made an A in it. And I sucked during the first one, but I actually got pretty good and ended up with an A in the class. And that probably helped me a lot. But I mean, you could go back to my early videos to get an idea. Like I have some of the 2012 videos uploaded, right? Uploaded to this channel. Still, even though this was the second channel started, and you can see kind of where I started. I've obviously improved. If you can only do one posterior chain, which would you drop, RDLs or good mornings? I wouldn't go with if I was only going to do one posterior chain movement, I'm going with a conventional deadlift, dude. I mean, for the rest of my life. Would you ever do another interview with Underground Sound? Oh. All right. Gosh, I barely remember that. If I'm remembering who that was, I think. Hold on, let me get rid of. This guy. Oh. All right. If that's who I remember it being, I could be wrong. He was a cool guy. I don't know if he's even doing stuff still, though. If it's the one I'm thinking of, who I did about 10 years ago or so. Will you need 20-inch biceps to ever catch up your rib cage? I don't know about 20, but I do need at least another inch. I need another arm on my biceps. No, I need another inch on my biceps, though. Are behind the neck presses worth the risk? If you can do them pain free, I don't see an issue with them. Right? I have to take speech next semester. How many speeches do you have to give? I think we gave somewhere between 6 or 8 full speeches in the class. Hey, Ahmed, are we still talking about trolling? All right. Okay, game with me, but keeping in mind things like satellite cell proliferation. All right. Oh, Scott. Why didn't you just say Scott, dude? I don't know him as Underground Sound. That's Scott, dude. Scott and I talk. No, he's on my Facebook. We're friends, at least online friends, not real life friends. No, dude, Scott. Just say Scott next. Sorry, I don't think of him as underground sound. Wow. What arm size are you trying to get up to? Probably 17 and a half or so would probably be good. I mean, I'd love to get to 18, but that may or may not happen. No, I'm not going to do breakfast chats again. What would be the best training for legs if you play rugby, hypertrophy, lots of iron, getting strong? You should do both, but you should squat, that's for sure. Coach, what's your opinion on studying sports science in college? I see no issue. It's a good thing to study if you want to do it. Can you outlift a bad diet? I don't know about that. Are you friends with Scooby? No. Will you ever do live stuff with Aria? We talked about it again a while back. She hit me up, and then we ended up not scheduling it, actually. Will you ever do a live tour in UK again? No, probably not. I don't see myself going back to the UK, even to visit. All right. Can Sam Salute come off his stuff and be potentially healthy? Yeah, probably. The damage may not be unreversible. Dose, not really. I just didn't care. Dude, I'm so used to just doing different stuff on camera. It's just as a point, I just didn't feel that it was good for the channel. Wasn't productive. And one, I don't like to eat in the mornings for a long time. I've been intermittent fasting a really long time now. Number two, I like to enjoy the food I eat. And if I'm eating on the camera, I better be getting paid for it. Like if it's a fetish thing that people want to see, I'm gonna need a minimum $100 just to eat on the video while I'm chatting. Minimum, maybe 500. All right. So whatever. Please keep making videos on Salute. We'll see them and shit. No, I don't think he's going to see them. I don't think he will. All right. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wind this down. It's 6 o'clock here. It's been 42 minutes, so we're going to be at the end of this. So we'll wind it down. I love all of you guys and gals. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you next time.